am going to do a book review from January to July. So yeah, I'm just gonna say the genre, I'm gonna say how many stars I gave it, and then I'm gonna have a few comments on it. So in January, I started with It Starts With Us. It's a romance novel by Colleen Hoover. I gave it 5 stars. I think I would probably give it 4 stars now, just because I think the writing is not amazing. I think it's super easy writing to read, and it got me out of a reading slump, which is why I think that I liked it so much. So yeah, I think now I would probably give that a 4 stars, but it was all right and it got me out of reading slump. That's all I can say. So the next book I read in January was When We Believed in Mermaids. This one is more of I guess you could call it a mystery. It's a mystery with a little bit of romance. But she's pretty much her sister went missing. She's looking for her. Or her sister was presumed dead, but she sees her on a TV and she goes looking for her. I'll be honest, I thought this one was gonna be so good because of TikTok. I kept seeing it everywhere and I was obsessed. It just didn't live up to my expectations. I gave it 3 stars, and I think the reason behind that was because her reasoning for being missing or whatever was just dumb. It was dumb. So I didn't like it. Okay, and then a 5-star read, which probably is really a 6-star read. It was so spectacular, is The Help. I'm obsessed. This was so much better than the freaking movie. So much better. So I just recommend it. It's 6 stars. It's so good. If you like the movie, you'll like it. Okay, then this one is Crescendo by Becca Fitzpatrick. It's the second in the Hush Hush series, and just could have not been in the series. It just really couldn't have been skipped. So I gave it 3 stars. It was cheeks. Okay, that was all for January. Then February, I read more, because that was only 4 books. Okay, so February, I was continuing with the Hush Hush series. So I read Silence, which is the 3rd book in the series, and I gave it 4 stars. It pretty much was just a reiteration of the last book. So you just didn't need the last book at all. That's what I just have to say. Okay, and then Finale, which was the finale, the last one. It was really good. I thought this one was a movie. It played out like a movie in my head, so I was obsessed with it. I gave it 5 stars. And the first book and this book, honestly, I feel just reading those 2 would have been a perfect series. Okay. And then every once in a while, I like to read children's books, just because I feel they're fun reads, and also because all of the books on my bookshelf are from way back in the day. At my dad's old apartment, I took all of my books, and some of them were books that I hadn't read from my childhood, so I just kind of checked them off, I hate to give away a book that I haven't read. So I read The Lost Cities, which is the 2nd one in the series, but I didn't know that, so I just read it. And I actually really liked it. I thought this would even not be that bad for an adult to read, because I actually had fun reading this, and I didn't think it was too childish. Okay. Then I read Red Riding Hood, which was written after the movie, which I've never read a book that is like that. So I thought that was really cool. And I don't know though, I gave it 4 stars because I thought that they left out a lot of parts that were in the movie that were really good, and I wish that they would have been in there. So that was one of them. 4 stars. And then this book, I read this book, Gap Creek. in one day. From like the night of one afternoon and then halfway through the next day. I don't know what made me read it that fast. I don't know if it was just a really easy read or if it was just a really good book, but I really enjoyed it. I gave it 5 stars, but I think that it was a little bit plain for some people. Like, it's about like a woman in the older days who used to like, I don't even know how to describe it, but anyways, just was plain. It was really good though. I enjoyed it. Okay. March. I only read 3 books in March. And I started with The Da Vinci Code, which was just a lot. It was like, I feel like you might have to be a little smarter to read this because it was just like too much information. I got really lost in some parts. Like, some parts it was just like droning on and on and on, and I just like wanted to get the book finished. But it was all right. So I gave it 4 stars because it was decent. It was a good story, like a good idea behind it, but it just wasn't, I didn't enjoy it that much. Okay, this one, Robin Carr, The Wanderer. It was a romance book, and I gave it 4 stars. Honestly, I'd probably give it 3 now because it just wasn't like amazing, and I felt like the writing was kind of a little bit not that great. So I gave it 4, but I'd probably give it 3. But it was kind of fun to read. I just don't ever think about it, and I just think it wasn't that amazing to me. Okay, the next one is another children's book. It's Fish by Gregory Mone, I think. And this was so cute. I don't know. I think sometimes reading children's books is kind of fun. I thought this was so cute, and I enjoyed it a lot. Okay, this was May. This was the only book I read in May, and I think it was just because I had a baby, so I wasn't reading much. But this was way better than I thought it was gonna be. I judged it by the cover for sure, and I thought it was gonna be like, sometimes you get like weird fantasy books, and I thought that's what this was gonna be, but it was not, and it was so amazing. It was about like slavery and these 2 people who were doctors, about them like helping out at that time. And there's just a bunch of different points of views, but it was so good. It was so good, actually. I gave it 5 stars. Okay, the next one I read, this was June. No, okay, so these were May. I read Beautiful Boy, which is a movie now, and I think a lot of people hyped this up really like crazy, but I just didn't think it was it was just another one that had like a lot of information that, like, I don't know. I think that if you were like looking into people with addiction and trying to see their points of view and see like, I guess, like different facts about it, I guess this would be a really good book for it. I didn't really feel like it read too much like a story. I felt like a lot of it was just like him talking about the research that he was doing, but it is, I'm pretty sure, based off of a true story. So I think that it's more of like a bibliography, I guess. So I think that was, I think it was all right. I gave it 4 stars, and I'd probably give it 3. Okay, the next one was 10 Trends to Seduce Your Best Friend, and it was like, I don't know, I didn't think it was that bad, but I just didn't really like it. And I think it was just kind of like, the writing was like, you know, yikes. So I think that was not the vibe. So that was 10 Trends. Okay, June, the only book that I read in June was Forever Liesel which is a memoir of The Sound of Music by Charmian Carr. Charmian? I think Carr. This was cute. This was actually such a cute book, and I actually didn't know a lot of the things that she talked about in this book. And I love The Sound of Music, and I love her character, so I thought I was gonna like this a lot, and I thought it was alright. It was decent. I'd probably give it 4 stars. I just don't think, like, memoirs are my thing, so. Okay. And then I read My Body by Emily Ratajkowski. I think I rated it 3 stars. Oh no, I rated it 4 stars, which I probably would give it because, I don't know, it was good. It just wasn't like amazing to me. I didn't think it was like super spectacular. I think she did a decent job though. I think it was decent. So that's really all I had to say about that. Okay, July. The last book I read through half the year was this book, and it was like insane. It was so good. I did not think it was gonna be that good, and it was. So I'm obsessed with it. It's about World War I, which I don't think I've really read a lot of books about World War I. I've read a ton from World War II, but I haven't read a lot on World War I, and this was like, oh my god, it was insane. And the battle scene, or the battlefield scenes, were so like well described that it's like disgusting. Oh my god, it's so bad and it's so good. So this became my second favorite book ever, and I love it. So that is all the books that I read from January to July. So I will keep y'all updated on my next one, or maybe I'll do a monthly if I read a lot. So adios.